it's 2021 and you might be like me, where you've got all these cheap bird shots that have not been affected by price. You can still get them cheaply. You want to shoot slugs or buck, but you just don't got the special equipment to make your own camera. So what you do is you take your pocket knife and you cut these open until they look like this. You can say you tore it a bit there, but it won't care. And then you dump all your BBs into a jar, and then you take a CO2 canister, which okay, so what I did, I already cut it apart, but the net, obviously I drained the CO2 canister. My drill isn't over here. I took the neck of the CO2 canister and I put it in my drill, and then I used one of those pipe cutters. Yeah, we're gonna go to my drill bag. See, I had some oddball work here. Pipe cutter, pipe cutter, pipe cutter, pipe cutter, pipe cutter. So I'd have the canister in my drill, and I'd be like with my foot lightly squeezing the trigger, so it just slowly rotates around, and I slowly tighten this pipe cutter around it, which makes a nice clean severing of the CO2 canister, and I cut it into a couple portions. So first I cut it off our little cap here, which is to hold the tip of our bullet, and you kind of have to have a back of it to hold it together. So I cut myself off another little piece, which is here, and then I cut the other tip off of this, so I could, when I had this thing assembled, I can sit it down on here like that, giving me to insulate from my desk. And so anyways, did all that. Now after you cut that, you're gonna have a bit of a lip on it, which will make your anything you cast will be permanently stuck inside there. So what you do is you fire up the Dremel, and you kind of just go around the edge of that, and you round over those edges, so it's not rough. But something else you want to do. Oh boy. So I'm trying to get this all in one take. I don't want to edit it, okay? So I did the redneck thing. I didn't want to go out to the angle grinder, so I have this angle grinder cutoff wheel on a bolt that I can just put in the chuck of my drill, and I can just run it on my drill and make sure that both edges are really flat so the surfaces can mate together, which I've had to redo a couple times from prying at it with a screwdriver. And again, you go with the Dremel and make sure there's no lip on the inside, because you want this thing to just pull apart. And there's a couple ways to do this. So these auxiliary ones you see, they're for me actually heating this up with the pouring the lead in here, heating it up and adding more lead. They make a really ugly casting, and the ones that look really good is me heating the lead up and pouring it in. But the problem is I don't have a container big enough to not do it multiple pours, and then there's that problem. But the casting comes out really well, and it's easier to pull apart. And my computer's installing Windows. And by the way, so I've got kind of a system here. So when I'm ready to make a new cast, what I do is first I lower my chair, because hydraulic shot in it. Alright, so where's my smooth side here? Which I can tell because it's got all the screwdriver pry marks. So I got my shape here, and I'm going to hold the camera in my teeth. There you go, so it's pretty good and lined up. And then I take these awful vice grip things. Using a real pair of vice grips would probably be better, but I'm too lazy to go out to the truck to get such a thing. There we go. Now I have a mold here. And then what I've been doing is actually, to do the pouring, I have this brass casing here, which you can see is actually full of molten lead. I'd recommend, for one, always wear safety glasses while you're doing this. The reason why there's so much lead over here is I had the lead from the casing too hot. I actually had it boiling when I poured it in, and the hot lead in here touched that cold steel, and it exploded and erupted out. I got a couple blisters from it. I was wearing safety glasses. I am uninjured in the face, which is good. So don't forget your safety glasses, and you probably should be wearing gloves. I do not have any disposable gloves, so I'm probably going to become retarded and die, so that sucks. But no, lead is dangerous, and I really should be wearing gloves while doing this, but I didn't have them, and I don't have any money, as most of us don't anymore. So yeah, so I'd use my pliers here. Actually, I've been using these wire strippers here and some pliers back and forth. So then what I do is I heat this up with the torch till it's liquid. I might take this little drill bit over here and skim the crud off the top, and I'd have that propped up more, and then I would pour that in. And I wish I had like a 50 BMG casing because I could do it all in one pour. Then I let that cool off, and then I take the pliers off, and then I go in there with my, if I have to, I go in there with this little box cutter here, which is been a bit destroyed from it, and I stick that in the cracks and pry it open a little. And you want to make sure you fill this up about halfway, because you want to make sure you're walking both of these parts off. And maybe I will do a quick edit, because I do want to see how one of these run. In fact, we will pack this one in right now. I just made. Oh yeah, so when I'm doing this, I put a little slit in there, and then you can kind of just shove it in with the slit, and it all conforms together. And if you wanted to, I mean, I guess if I was going to make these perfectly conform so I could load them in a magazine or something like that, I probably would put a pipe clamp. Now, the thing is like a zip tie, but it has a flathead screwdriver that tightens a clamp. Something strap, I can't remember. But yeah, it's like a ratchet strap, but with a screw, and it's tiny, and it's for pipes. I'd use one of those and put that around it, and I would probably fill this with hot glue or wax. I mean, this isn't going to fall out, but it'll keep everything secure together. I mean, if I had a candle, I would be melting wax in here, and that would be what would seal everything up, make sure moisture doesn't get in there. That's what I'd be using, wax. We're gonna try chamber loading this into the AK 12 gauge. That sounds fun, don't it? All right, so my hands are washed. Oh, it gave us a flashlight. And if you're messing with lead and you don't have gloves, wash your hands frequently. Don't eat food when you're touching lead. Don't touch your face. All those stupid COVID rules, take it seriously with lead, because lead is going to do a lot more damage to you than a virus. And it builds up over time. So I'm going to put 2 of these shells into my 12 gauge, and we're going to see how they load. We're going to actually load it from the magazine, and I did nothing to them. They're not glued together or anything. I just want to see what happens. If it has a malfunction, yeah, it's probably because there's a slit in the side of these, and I don't know. We're going to find out. I want to see if it cycles. I almost didn't put my choke tube in. I had it out. This is just a cylinder bore. The reason why I had the choke tube out is I wanted to mention to you that you should make sure the slug fits through your barrel. Not all CO2 canisters are the same. Some are a little bigger. They're probably all about the same, but I know I've ran into some CO2 canisters that are just a wee bit bigger. So, make sure it'll work, so you're not shooting a grenade. Oh, you know what? Let's adjust that gas setting. I am set to run birdshot, I think. Yeah, let's put that on 1. I'm on 3. Alright, we're on gas setting 1. Let's see if it cycles like a slug. See if I can even hit my target. Well, that one failed to cycle. You know what, this is low brass, so, we'll, set her to 2 and see if it'll cycle on buckshot setting. What the hell? You know, I don't care. I'll do it this later. I need to take the, I think the gas tube isn't on correctly. Or something. It's not rotating. I'll deal with that later. We're just going to cycle the thing. Yep. Cool. So, I never even got a good chance to sight this thing in, but you heard me pinging my target 25 yards away. It's a depleted propane cylinder. And, I think I like these slugs so far. So very light on recoil. Way lighter than a normal slug. I probably can go heavier on the lead. That is what that's telling me.